Welcome back to Rome and to this edition of Talking Europe. We're now in front of the crumbling Colosseum, but today many fear it's the Italian economy that is falling into ruin. Italy is the Eurozone's third largest economy, but it has very high unemployment and towering debt. One political party here, the Five Star Movement, blames much of Italy's economic woes on the euro and indeed wants to put the country's membership of the single currency to a vote. The Five Star Movement was created in 2009 by a former comedian, Beppe Grillo. It started as a web-based organisation with a stated goal of uncovering corruption in political parties. Today, however, some of its own members are being investigated for much of the same. In the last general elections, it took over 25% of the vote, and since June, the mayor of Rome is a member of the Five Star Movement. But being in power hasn't exactly been all positive for the party, as Johan Bodin reports.
In the middle of the carnival celebrations, Fabio Fucci isn't exactly at ease working the crowd.
Wow, what a fantastic mask.
Can I take a photo?
Of course.
I've never seen you in real life.
Fabio Fucci is not a natural politician. Here in Pomezia, he is now a public figure, recognised in the street. He's much more comfortable in the calm of his office. The former IT technician was elected mayor for the Five Star Movement 3 years ago.
That's thanks to the Five Star Movement. This wouldn't have been possible a few years ago.
The new mayor is typical of the anti-establishment party. Despite his lack of political experience, Fucci wants to govern this city of 60,000 people, according to the movement's guiding principle, direct democracy.
We have a very solid approach, based on dealing with problems that people are confronted with directly. We think of the word populist very positively. We don't belong to one side or the other, not right, not left. We say we're revolutionaries.
The Five Star Movement is at heart a grassroots organisation. He may be town mayor, but at this gathering of members, Fabio Fucci is an activist just like the others.
Our motto is one is worth one. Because the founding idea of Five Star is that there's no leader.
Up for debate tonight, rules for new mobile phone antenna. Thanks to the movement's attachment to direct democracy, the decisions are posted online so all can see.
I don't see a sect or anything like that, but rather a group of people talking about real problems. Here today, this is horizontal democracy at work, with people all at the same level.
Despite its claims to be a party of equals, the movement does actually have a leader. Its founder, the charismatic blogger and comedian Beppe Grillo. Since 2009, Grillo has ridden a wave of anger and populism. The Five Star Movement winning scores of seats in the Parliament and Senate in 2013. But life in power has not proved easy. The new Five Star mayor of Rome, Virginia Raggi, was elected thanks to an anti-corruption campaign. But just 9 months into her term running City Hall, she and her team face accusations of abuse of office, with key allies forced to quit. Now her new deputy, Luca Bergamo, insists the chaotic beginnings are over.
There was a combination of errors, and there were problems getting down to work immediately. And then there was the fact we had very little support from the insiders at City Hall administration. I think we have got beyond this phase. And I think we can expect the team to get stronger over the coming months.
The Five Star Movement rose to prominence by criticising those in power. Now that it's in control of major cities, the challenge is balancing the party's principles with the necessities of governing. Faced with increasing public scrutiny, their untested tactics could prove to be their undoing.
When they're faced with a difficult decision, they always say, we're going to have a referendum. So that's the way for them to not to take any real position on crucial issues. Are you for or against the euro? We are going to do a referendum. So this dream of direct democracy is what allows them not to take decisions. It is a brilliant political solution, but of course it's a disaster.
The Five Star Movement has capitalised on the public's mistrust of its mainstream rivals. Its anti-establishment message will be part of the political landscape for the foreseeable future.
Well, we're now going to meet with one of the five-star movement's MEPs, Mr. Fabio Massimo Castaldo, who studied for his law degree here at this university outside of Rome. Mr. Castaldo, lovely to meet you. Thanks for your time.
Nice to meet you.
Now, we've been looking briefly at your party. The mayor of Rome, a member of the five-star movement, since she came to power, she's been investigated even for abuse of power, and many people criticise her, saying it's proof that your party is one of protest, not of government.
Not at all. In fact, she's not yet accused. There is just an investigation. Of course, we will take in account what will be the choice and what will be the acts of justice and of the judges. But let's always remember that there are other 36 five stars administration all around Italy that are doing excellent results, and moreover the situation of Rome has been since the beginning completely difficult.
You know, the leader of five-star movement, Beppe Grillo, in the past he said that anyone even suspected of corruption would have to leave the party. That seems to have gone out the window now.
There is an inquiry, and it is not about corruption, but it's
abuse of power.
Yes, this is something different. But in any case, we are still in this important. It's really important to say that the five stars has not changed at all its principles. We have adopted recently a very important ethical code that it's now legally binding.
Is the five-star movement anti the euro or anti the EU?
In fact, we are criticizing since the beginning, even before the European elections, how it was built up, this monetary and economical union, because it's completely unfair towards the peripheral countries of Southern Europe that are suffering for too much strong currency in this moment. The record that Germany did this year of export, that is violating the commitments, that they are exporting too much. There is a rule saying that for the macroeconomical stability of the Eurozone and of Europe, no country should export more than 6% for more than 4 or 5 years. They are 9%, 7 years, no procedure of infraction.
Well, we've seen their economic concerns and other issues, but of course, in Italy, migration really a concern for a lot of people. Where does the five-star movement stand on that?
But we voted in Europe for the Juncker plan. We say this is a common problem, so let's share also the responsibility to face it and to find a common solution. Unfortunately, 4 countries, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia and Czech Republic say no to the obligation they took in the Council. We are always doing the distinction between the refugees on one side and the economical migrants on the other side. And we say the refugees are protected by the international conventions, and we want to fulfill those obligations. For the economical migrants, let's have a real joint plan at the European level, and all countries must be involved.
And when we read things like that tweet from the leader of the five-star Beppe Grillo saying that he feels that Rome is swamped with rubbish, rats and illegal immigrants, how do you react to that kind of tone?
But sincerely, it was not doing a comparison between the migrants and the other issues in Rome. It was denouncing the situation of the really difficult situation of Rome in general, and especially of Rome peripheral neighborhoods. But we should always remember that some issues, some problems cannot even be solved at the national level. They must be at the European one, so we cannot pretend from the mayorship of Rome to solve every single problem of Italy and Europe at the same time.
Okay, Mr. Castaldo, thanks so much for your time. It looks like EU solidarity is overall the main solution to the current crisis. Well, indeed, in Italy, over 500,000 people have come into the country over the last 2 years, and currently today, over 170,000 people are in reception centres here. The government is looking for ways to help people integrate further. One solution could see migrants and refugees who are waiting for their applications to be processed, see them carry out work that is deemed socially useful in order to receive a weekly living allowance. However, some NGOs say that this could just further exploit an already vulnerable people.
The results of a morning's work, a heap of rubbish bags filled with leaves and waste. The streets of Fiumicino are getting a spring clean. For local resident Angela, come to offer refreshments, it makes a change to see people taking care of her town.
It's been 30 years since local people cleaned it up here. In summer, there would even be small snakes on the pavement. For me, it's great to see these young men working.
The street cleaners, though, are not municipal employees. Coming from Ivory Coast, Mali or Gambia, they're all migrants waiting for asylum requests. When a migrant centre was opened in the town last summer, it initially drew opposition. But opinions have changed thanks to the newcomers working 4 days a week, free of charge.
I have a place to sleep, I have food. That's why I'm happy to work for free, because Italy's providing me with everything.
It's good. It's good for the body all the time. I working and still doing exercise.
An increasing number of Italian towns encourage migrants to perform community service. In Fiumicino, out of 60 or so migrants lodged at the centre, a dozen have volunteered. For the authorities, it's win-win. The cheap labour, a way to incite other towns to take in more migrants.
Come state? Va bene? Ciao.
The state pays €35 a day for every migrant housed in Fiumicino. For the mayor, the free labour is more than welcome.
These workers are really crucial for us because our budget is stretched already. Municipalities find it hard to make progress. We built this cycle path, but we really struggle to keep it in good condition.
500,000 migrants have arrived in Italy over the past 2 years. Over a third of them have lodged asylum requests. Officially, voluntary work and asylum claims are not related. But at welcome centres, many migrants are told that it could improve their chances.
They told us this work can help us get our papers. It's win-win.
That's why we're taking part. I hope they keep their promises.
But those promises are exaggerated. Over half of asylum seekers will see their request refused. In Rome, the Baobab Association comes to the aid of those who've dropped out of the system and are living on the streets. For this humanitarian organisation, the voluntary work system is just another form of exploitation the migrants face.
I want the migrants really to have a choice to work or not, and if they choose to work, then they should be protected by improved Italian labour law.
Working for free is not the Europe that many migrants dreamed of, meaning many of the people who arrived in Italy want to continue on to other European countries, still in hope of a better life.
With me now, I have Elisabetta Gardini, MEP for Forza Italia. Ms. Gardini, thanks for your time. We've just been looking at that new plan put in place in Italy to get those waiting for asylum applications to be processed to do some social work. What do you think of that plan?
Unfortunately, I think it's just a dream because we have such a high rate of unemployment, especially among young people. Higher than 40%. So I don't think it could work at large scale. Probably some pilot projects.
Hundreds of thousands of people arriving into Italy. It looks like the EU solution is once again to stop that flow, making deals with Libya, for example, to keep people there. But NGOs say that this is just going to lead to more abuse of very vulnerable people. Is that really acceptable?
It's very difficult because what our government did in past it's such a deal with Gaddafi, with Libya, but now it's more difficult because Libya is not stabilized. What Italy has to do is to decide what people are refugees and what are just economical migrants. It means illegal migrants. And unfortunately, they can't stay here in Italy or in Europe elsewhere.
The EU celebrating or marking at least its 60th anniversary. Yeah. As we mark that date, how do you feel about the future of the EU?
Europe has to change because if you speak with young people, especially if speaking with young people, they feel European citizens in a certain way. But they don't think that Europe is close to them, is able to solve their problems.
Well, Ms. Gardini, I know you're actually going to meet with some young people of your party to see what they think about this 60th anniversary year. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. When the European Union was born, European Union was a dream. Is still a dream for you, European Union?
This dream is broken.
People should live Europe like a dream, like something that can unify people, ideas, but I don't think that now it is.
Quando penso all'Europa, io penso comunque a una grande
I thought the EU would be like a big family, but I haven't seen the solidarity I expected from it. As for Brexit, well, we'll see. As they say, stronger together.
Come si dice, l'unione fa la forza.
We lost the humanity, or we lost the solidarity between us, between the European people and between the refugees, immigrants, and we have to take back the Catholic education and the democratic education.
You touched a very sensitive point, because the point is about the identity of Europe. Because I think that Europe needs an identity, and this is what we are looking for.
There you have it, the EU's identity still being debated and developed. But that brings us to the end of our visit to Rome and indeed this edition of Europe Now. Hope you enjoyed. See you again next time.